Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Watkins. I'm your instructor for History 2395, the History Workshop. Welcome to the class. So I want to start by telling you a story. The story is of jazz legend Charlie Parker. See, when Charlie Parker was 16 years old, as the story goes, he went to a jazz club in Kansas City, Missouri. And this is going to be his sort of breakout performance, his first time really performing for the jazz legends of the region, including the drummer of the Count Basie Orchestra, Joe Johnson, who was there performing. So when he finally got his chance to go on stage, he got up there and started playing, but the tempo of the song was really, really fast, and he found himself having a hard time keeping up, right? Missing notes, missing some of the chord changes. Apparently it got so bad that Johnson, the drummer, took off one of his cymbals and chucked it at Charlie Parker to kind of shoo him off the stage, say, "Get out, you're not ready, kid." Totally mortified, people laughed at him, he was completely embarrassed. But instead of giving up, what Charlie Parker did was absolutely legendary. He retreated to a cabin in the woods, a woodshed, in fact, and he spent months there practicing his craft, going over scales and improvisation techniques, mimicking the styles of other jazz masters. And he did this for 15 hours a day, every single day for months. The result was when he returned to the club after his months of woodshedding, he wowed the people in the audience, including all of the jazz legends that were there watching. And this is the beginning of what would become his incredibly famous career in jazz. So why do I tell you this story? Well, because I think this story sort of serves as a metaphor for what we're going to do in this class. This is the history workshop, and I want you to think of it kind of like our history woodshed, right? Our opportunity to come together and practice our craft so that we get really, really good at it. And the craft, of course, is the craft of the historian. That's what we're going to do in this class. I'm going to spend this semester trying to teach you the craft of the historian. And hopefully, by the end of it, you'll be a much better writer, a much better thinker, a much better reader, and really prepared to go on in the history major and in the rest of your university life and even life beyond Baylor. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, in this video, I just want to give you an overview of what this class is going to be like. I'm going to talk a little bit about the kind of overall design of the class and what we're going to do during the semester. I'm going to take you through the Canvas site because the Canvas site is really important for this class. And then I'm going to finish off by giving you some tips for being successful in this class and beyond. Okay, let's start with a breakdown of the class. So the history workshop is really all about teaching you how to do the work of the historian. And here what we really mean is research, how to do historical research in a professional way. We're going to break this down into kind of 4 segments or 4 modules. The class is sort of divided into these 4 modules. The first one is a module that will just be focused on the history of history, the history of the historical discipline. That's how we're going to start our class, is understanding where history comes from and how it's developed over time. The second module is going to focus on working with primary sources. These are some of the most important things that historians use to do their craft. So we're going to spend a few weeks looking at what primary sources are, how to find them, how to analyze them, and how to use them to form an argument. Third, we're going to turn our attention to secondary sources. In the third module, we're going to look at what secondary sources are. We're going to use databases to find them. And we're going to learn how to analyze them and analyze what's called a historiographic debate, or a sort of secondary source debate about a historical topic. And then finally, we're going to finish the semester by looking at professional life. We're going to ask kind of the question of, what do you do with a degree in history or with a history education? What are the opportunities that are there for you? I'm going to bring in speakers from all over the place to talk about things like law school and grad school, work in public history, work in the private sector, work in teaching, right? And we're going to try to kind of help you develop a plan for what you want to do when you leave Baylor. Okay, now let me take you through the Canvas site, because the Canvas website is really important for this class. So you need to know how to navigate it and what to find there. Okay, let me take you through the Canvas site for this course. So when you get to the Canvas site, this is the home page and just has a little bit of introduction about what the course is about. And that's me. Hey, look at me. A few things that I want you to kind of be aware of in this site. The first is the announcements tab right here. Every week, I'm going to post an announcement, a sort of weekly announcements that will remind you about deadlines and things that you need to do and prepare for class. But I want to bring this to your attention so that you know to check the announcements every week to make sure that you're not missing anything, because any changes to the class or to the syllabus are going to go up as an announcement here. So you really need to make sure that you're staying up to date with everything and that you have all the information you need. Okay, second thing I want to point out is the assignments tab. This is where every single assignment for this class is going to be listed. All of the assignments, all the major assignments that you do in this class, you're going to submit here on Canvas. So that's the end of module assignments here. The History of History exam is in class, so that one doesn't count. But the other papers, the primary source analysis paper, the historiographic essay, and the professional portfolio assignment, these are all things that you're going to submit on Canvas. Another major part of your grade is going to be participation. This is where you can track what your attendance is. I'll keep track of your attendance throughout the time. And at the end of the semester, I'll post kind of an engagement score, which is like your participation. If you want to know more about how these are determined, you can just click in here, and I have a rubric that kind of talks about how I measure participation each class. And then finally, the last kind of batch of assignments that you'll have are quizzes. These will happen mostly in class, although some of the quizzes will be things that you need to do before coming to class. It's important to look at the syllabus and to make sure that you know what the quiz is for each day. If it's an in-class quiz on the readings, or if it's an assignment that you have to submit before class. You can also check by just clicking on each quiz. It'll say what the quiz is and what the readings are over, and you'll know exactly what to do. Okay, next is the syllabus. So there might be times where I have to kind of change the class for various reasons. If I have to ever do that, I'll alter the syllabus. I'll sort of tweak the syllabus, and then I'll post it here in the syllabus tab. I highly recommend, before you do really anything else, go and download the copy of the syllabus that's there and read through it, because that's really where you're going to get all the details about the class, about the assignments and all the course policies and procedures and the schedule of classes and assignments too. Okay, last but certainly not least, this is probably the most important tab that you're going to work with in the Canvas site, and that's the Modules tab. So in the Modules tab, I have a page for every single class session of the semester. I've numbered them here in sequence and have their titles as well. And it's really, really important that before every class, you click on these pages and visit these pages to see what's expected of you for that class, what we're going to be doing in that class, and to get the materials that are needed for that class. So let me just give you an example here. If we click in here to what was history and antiquity, you'll see that every module page looks kind of the same. It has a little overview of what the class is going to be like. And then I have posted here in different sections things that you'll need for the class. So here, I don't have it done yet, but when I have the video ready to go for you to watch, it'll be linked right here so that you can either watch it embedded here in Canvas, or you can go to YouTube to watch the video for that day. Then there's the list of what you need to read before the class. And this is really important. Every module page will also have a section for reflection questions. These are the questions that I think you should be basically answering in your notes when you do the readings and when you watch the videos before class. If you answer these reflection questions, you're going to be really well prepared to do the quizzes in class when you come in each class session. Then finally, there's a link to what the assignments are for that class. So if there's a quiz on that class, right, it'll say what the quiz is and if it's in class or if it's out of class. And then finally, at the end, you'll see a list of things that I want you to bring to class with you. Most of the time it'll be just your reading notes or some simple things, but sometimes I'll want you to bring like a laptop computer or other things with you to class because we're going to use those things in class for activities. Okay, the final thing I want to do in this video is to give you some of my tips for being successful in this class. Tip number 1, take notes. And what I mean here is take notes in kind of 2 different ways. You can even have 2 different notebooks if you want, but you can do it all in one notebook too. That's totally fine. Take notes outside of class and take notes in class. So the way that this class is going to go is you're going to watch a lot of video lectures, like this one, and you're going to do a lot of readings outside of class. And what I want you to do is to take notes on those lectures and on those readings and bring those notes into class. And then when we're in class, I want you to take notes on the things that we're doing, the things we talk about, the activities that we do. Putting all of that together will really help you kind of consolidate the knowledge of the class and make sure that you're not losing track of all the skills that we're going to learn, because all of these skills are going to build up over the course of the semester, right? And you're going to need to know how to do all of them progressively as we go through the semester. Tip number 2, office hours. I hold office hours every single week. You can see on the schedule, or you can see on the syllabus, the first page of the syllabus, when that office hour schedule is. And I highly, highly recommend that you come see me in my office. This is my office. We can do whatever you want in office hours. We can talk about the readings. We can talk about stuff that we discuss in class. I'll go over some of the assignments. If you're working on the primary source paper and want to show me a draft or just show me the introduction that you wrote, we can workshop it together. I am there to help you. So take advantage of the office hours, all right? The only way I usually know how to help students is if they come in and talk to me and tell me what they need. So please come to office hours. Please come see me. It'll be really useful. Tip number 3, start early. Some of the projects for this class take a lot of time. This is particularly the case with the historiographic essay. It takes a ton of time to complete this assignment. If you don't start early, it's going to be trouble. Okay, I'm going to tell you this in class. I will remind you of this. I'll get you sort of warmed up and I'll get you going so that you can kind of gradually ease your way into this. But do not delay. Do not procrastinate in this class. That is a recipe for disaster. If you start early though and get on these projects kind of soon, then you're gonna find that you'll do a lot better. And in fact, you'll feel a lot better too. Okay, my 4th and final tip is a tip that my graduate advisor a long time ago gave to me. He said, to be successful in history, you must have the entrepreneurial spirit. What he meant by that is just that you have to have kind of within you the ability to convince yourself to go and do work even when people aren't telling you to do it. Especially in the kind of last half of this class, I'm going to pull back on what I ask you to do. And instead, I'm going to give you the space to work on some of the projects that you need to work on your own time and on your own schedule. This is both a good thing because it gives you a lot of freedom, but it's also a bad thing if you don't have the entrepreneurial spirit, if you don't have the motivation, the kind of self-discipline to bring yourself to the library on a Friday afternoon instead of going out for pizza with your friends and doing research on your historiographic essay. But that's what's demanded of this class. You have to have the ability to motivate yourself to do research, or else you're going to find yourself falling behind. So cultivate that entrepreneurial spirit. Use that entrepreneurial spirit. Go do work and research on your projects. Start early on things so that you don't fall behind and so that you don't get yourself into trouble. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope this was helpful in kind of giving you a sense of what the class is like. On our first class session, you'll get a chance to ask me questions, anything that didn't come up in this video or in the syllabus. So stay tuned for that, and in the meantime, see you later.